and welcome to the Fringe RX podcast. I'm Anna Strong, and I'm on a mission to find a cure for autoimmune. We talk education, healing, support, do's, don'ts, wins, and losses, all to improve our quality of life. I love that music. It's like really good. Okay, today is a great day because actually we went almost, I think about 6 weeks off with the COVID. Everybody's now coming out and not wearing a mask. This is, I think, the second day that we're not required to wear a mask outside. So it's pretty fun. I have a wonderful guest who basically has reversed her autoimmune disease by doing something extraordinary. And I'm going to let her tell you about it. She's a wonderful person. She's a psychotherapist. She is a warrior. She's a princess. She's beautiful. Let's just introduce her. Lynne Nardisi.
Hi, Anna. Good morning.
Hi. I'm so lucky to have you on my show. Tell everybody where you are. I'm in California, and you're calling in from... It's Texas,
I
right?
am in New
Arizona?
Mexico. Thank you. That was quite the intro.
Oh, thank you. Lynne was actually diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, which is one of the autoimmunes that people like really, I don't know, they like lupus, MS, and RA happen to be the most popular autoimmune diseases for people to know about. And the rest of them, there's over 100 of them, but yours was RA. We're not really sure because, you know, people like to throw that around. They actually did that to me. They diagnosed me with RA, and it was totally incorrect. But you kicked it, and I want everybody to know how. So introduce yourself and tell everybody exactly how you felt when you were diagnosed. You were already a psychotherapist, right? So you
Yes.
really had your act together, and then all of a sudden this bomb drops. I want to know how you felt.
Yeah. So I was living in San Francisco at the time, and I had been sick off and on for almost 10 years, which I'm sure anyone can relate to. Just different symptoms that would come and go, and I knew something was wrong with me. And I had about 1 month where I just had a massive flare up and went again to the doctor, again, did a bunch of blood tests. And this time we tested specifically for the rheumatoid arthritis. And it did come up as positive. And I do remember talking on the phone to my doctor, and they had done this trial with me with prednisone, and they had said if I tried prednisone and my inflammation went down, that would confirm the diagnosis. And so that's what happened, and they confirmed with me over the phone. And it just felt like this death sentence in a way, with like in that moment, my life just changed.
Yeah, and they did it over the phone. So you're like on the phone, and they're saying you have this thing that you didn't know. Okay, and yeah, you felt like crap before, and a lot of people go like, there is a certain relief of finding out that you know we can put a label on it, but that's, to me, it was horrible. So they tell you over the phone you have something. There's no cure, and this is what's going to happen to you. And they do call RA the deathless cancer. And it's like, really? You're going to tell me that, and then you're going to shove me out the door or give me like a pill and say this isn't going to help, but it'll slow it down. And then you're just shell shocked, you know? And
Yes.
it's weird. So what did you
Yeah.
do after you hung up the phone?
So I have to add this because I think it's pretty funny. I was actually in my garage taking out the trash when I got this phone call, which just feels kind of symbolic looking back. So, just as I'm even thinking about this, telling you about it, I'm in my garage. There's no lights on. I'm like literally standing in front of the trash, and just getting this message of like, oh, okay, I have rheumatoid arthritis. I need to take medicine. I'm going to be on medicine for the rest of my life. My doctor was actually very positive and optimistic. And he was telling me, you know, rheumatoid arthritis, it's not the same as like 10 or 15 years ago because now the medication is
Right.
so great. You know, in the past, you could kind of just go from a diagnosis to being in a wheelchair in a very short time period. So he was actually, you know, trying to be optimistic and get my hopes up that, you know, this wasn't a bad thing and the medication was going to be, you know, really helpful for me. But for me, you know, it didn't feel that way. I had always been, you know, I wasn't sickly growing up. I would mainly just take, you know, something for a headache. I wasn't used to taking medication. Um, and yeah, my whole life just changed in that moment with just taking on this belief and this idea that I was going to be sick for the rest of my life, be on medication for the rest of my life. And yeah, things kind of went downhill from there for me.
Wow. That almost mirrors what happened to me. Because I mean, I really liked my doctor. I knew my doctor, and I didn't even know
Hmm.
I had something, and it was him going like, that's not right. You know, let's run some tests. And then I'm thinking I'm perfectly fine, and I walk in, and I get this. So it was really devastating. What did you do afterwards? I mean, like that day. Okay, you're taking out the trash. They didn't leave a message for you, did they?
No, they did not. They did not. And I have to say, at this point, I knew something was wrong with me. I could feel it. And I had kind of known for a while that something was not working in my body. Something was very off balance. And again, all of my very kind of typical autoimmune symptoms, just being really fatigued, having a lot of body pain. So, as I think back to what I did, when I got the message and talked to the doctor, it just kind of unraveled into nonstop doctor appointments,
Yeah.
blood tests. I had a lot of trouble with side effects from medication. So I was just constantly trying something new. It would maybe work for a little bit, but then I'd have all these side effects, and then I'd need medication for the side effects. So even though my diagnosis was around the RA, I ended up getting vertigo, migraine headaches, osteoporosis, and then treatment for the osteoporosis. So yeah, it was
I
just
don't
kind
know
of
why.
nonstop appointments from here on in.
You
Yeah.
know, I got to tell you that I was in a Ralph's. I don't know if you have that there. You know, it's a Safeway somewhere. I found out
Yep.
like one grocery store owns everything. They just label different stuff over there. I'm finding out where the camera is right now.
Likewise. I'm like, there you are.
It is so I literally was going down the aisles because I was changing my diet too because I couldn't eat anything, and it would be so upsetting to even go into a grocery store because you couldn't buy anything. But I got a call from my doctor while I was shopping, and I totally lost it. I was like, they wanted me to do another test. They wanted me to come in and do an MRI, and I started crying in the middle of the route. I go, why are you doing this to me? Why are you making me, like live basically in a doctor's office? Why are you calling me back all the time and telling me to come in, come in, come in? And she goes, well, we got to get a baseline. We got to get a baseline. I think we're missing it in this country because we don't treat our people that come into a doctor's office and they find out they have sex. We don't treat them like like people. All of a sudden they become a commodity. We become a money-making, profitable thing, and it's isolating. I lost friends during that time because I was a little bit too needy. Like I don't know what's going on here. So basically, you were going through the same thing. But how did you handle it? Because I don't think I handled it quite as well.
Yeah, I can so relate to everything you just said, and to anyone who is currently going through a health issue or know someone who is. I mean, anyone can relate to this, I think. We've all been there, or we know someone who is kind of caught up in the system or stuck in the system. So, looking back, I can say I did have really good doctors. I always felt like they knew me, and they were caring for me in the way that they were trained to, which is the Western medical model, which is kind of treating the symptoms. But as you know, Western doctors don't see autoimmune diseases as curable. So that was just never really part of the conversation. And so I just kind of, I went to all of my appointments, got all my blood tests. I was always kind of doing stuff on the side in terms of alternative treatment, looking into supplements, vitamins. I was going to acupuncture really consistently, and I would say that was probably the most helpful thing that I did in terms of helping with the fatigue and the inflation.
I did
I
that
had a really
too. I don't want to interrupt you or
uh-huh.
anything. I
Oh,
do
it's
this all the
okay.
time. I
Yeah.
interrupt people. I don't
Oh, go
care.
ahead.
But I insurance doesn't cover acupuncture.
Yep.
I did
Right.
that. It worked. I mean, I would be good for, a certain amount of time. You'd have to go back and get it done again, but no side effects, no, craziness going on. And it worked, and it was not covered by insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
like, why not? Why
Yeah.
not? I'm sorry, but for interrupting because
No, no.
that's what I do.
Yeah.
But I swear, it's like every treatment that really worked, it was always, yeah, we don't cover that. I think
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to fix that. How long were you on prescriptions?
5 years.
Okay. When
Yeah.
did
So
you
five
you
years.
got fed up?
Go ahead. Yes.
And what happened
Yeah.
after 5 years?
Uh, my marriage fell apart. So, yeah, I think my marriage had been falling apart in these 5 years that I was just kind of, I don't know, almost like a zombie, I think. I was in private practice as well, and any energy, my main focus, other than my physical symptoms and illness, was just working and seeing clients. So I think because of that, everything else just fell apart. And it's okay. I think it had to. So yeah, when my husband broke up with me, I think that was the final thing for me where I really just kind of hit rock bottom. And in that falling apart, it was like, I have to do something about my health. I have to change something. And shortly after that, maybe 2 or 3 months after that, I had seen a documentary of people with different illnesses and different conditions going to Peru and working with shamans in Peru. And halfway through watching this documentary, I knew that this is what I had to do, and this is what I was doing, and that's what I did.
That's remarkable. I mean, because we're in the middle of doing a documentary series about curing, autoimmune disease, and why are we not addressing this situation? I mean, even in California, I mean, and I was a proponent. I was going out and going like, you have to vote for Prop, 13 or, God, I don't even know what it is now. And it's like this company. It's called CERM. About regenerative medicine. It's about stem cell and everything. And I've gone to Mexico. I've done it, and I know it works. And I wanted to help, and I wanted to hey, and they're not doing any discovery for autoimmune. They're not doing anything because they go like, well, we don't know what causes it. And I go like, if you don't research it, how are you going to find a cure? There are over 300 million people suffering every day, and you're not going to run a clinical trial after you've gotten millions and millions of dollars? What is wrong with you? So okay, so you're in the medical profession. Your marriage is breaking up, and you know that you have, something that's not going right with you, and you know it can be fixed, and you take the ball in your own hands. Tell everybody what you did.
Yeah, so I made the decision in that moment, but it actually took me about another year and a half to actually get to Peru. But in that time, just knowing that this was my ultimate goal, this was my plan, having so much faith that this was going to work for me. And I always say that what I did is what I did because I needed to. And I think everyone has to find what works for them. But so yes, long story short, I finally got myself to Peru. I was in the Amazon jungle for about 2 months, living in a tent, pretty isolated, and working with a shaman, working with the medicinal plants of the jungle, on a very restricted diet. It's actually called a dieta, which is a Spanish word for diet. And the idea is that you're eating kind of bland food and living as isolated as you can in the jungle and drinking these teas made from different plants. And in that, the healing happens and change happens. So I went off all of my medication as soon as I started these dietas, which I'm sure
Really?
any doctor, yeah, I'm
Every
sure any
doctor
doctor
would
would
go like,
say,
don't
I
do
know,
that.
yeah. So again, don't listen to me. Don't do what I did.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. I always tell people, no, no,
yeah.
don't do that because I'm afraid
Totally.
that something bad's going to happen. So you go
Yeah,
there and
totally.
you throw all your drugs out the window. Remarkable. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know it sounds so stupid at the same time, but again, I really had faith in the with the shaman that I was working with, and I was not doing anything without consulting him. So it was really when he told me, okay, you can stop taking this, and we're going to start the plants tomorrow, and that was it. So this was back in 2016. And since that time, I've had no symptoms. I'm still off, I'm still not on any medication. I've had blood tests since then, 2 or 3 times in the past couple of years, and the rheumatoid arthritis does not show up in my blood test anymore. So it is a
That's
true healing, and
huge.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yes.
that is not. I mean, this shaman. How did you find him? I mean, did you did he come to you or did you go to him? How exactly did this happen? Because this is, you don't hear about this, and I'm sorry, a lot. There's going to be people that have rheumatoid arthritis that watch this and they know what it, but it's a horrible, debilitating autoimmune disease, and I mean, I've seen people with big, huge, ulcers on their hands, and they can't move, and I mean, they're like this.
Yeah.
And you tested positive, and this is something that a Western doctor would go like, yeah, sorry, this is going to happen to you, which is the wrong thing to tell anybody. But you actually reverse this. Is it? I just want to know how.
I
just want to
know.
know
I,
how.
I still sometimes I still have these moments. I'm like, what happened? How did it happen? So yeah, just kind of going back to your question on who I was working with. So I was working specifically with one of the shamans in the documentary that I had watched. So there was about 5 different, I don't know, 4 or 5 different shamans in this documentary, and I just felt I don't know, a connection with one of them, and felt like he is the one I need to work with. And it took a while to actually connect with him and find him. And when I did, it was like another maybe 6 months of just kind of planning and figuring out what I was going to do with my life in San Francisco. And essentially the answer for me was to wrap up my life in San Francisco and go to Peru on a one-way ticket. I ended up staying there for about 2.5 years, even though about every 6 months I would have to leave for visa reasons, and then I would go back. And I think a lot of that was just I needed to, I kind of wanted to be in the jungle and learn more about the plants. And it was about really kind of integrating everything. And so, yeah, as for your question around how I did the healing, I don't know if it was just like one moment where everything inside kind of transformed, or if it was in those 2.5 years that I don't know, that things changed. Although I had gotten a blood test about a year after my initial dietas, and even at that point, the blood tests were showing I was healthy. I did not have rheumatoid arthritis.
That is incredible.
So yeah, thank
Now,
you.
it's kind of strange because I mean, if we think about it, everybody tells us, oh, life is a journey and it's all about learning and everything happens for a reason. The reason why you were so brave, I mean, to pick up your entire life and go to the Amazon jungle. Not only were you diagnosed with, this thing that is just, you know, weird for somebody to even tell you that you have something and debilitating, but then your husband leaves you and then you go like, boom, I'm doing this. I don't care about anything. I watched this documentary, and thank you, Nick. We're doing a documentary. We're going to change people's lives because they swear to God, they watch TV and it's like, oh, this is going to help me. It's remarkable.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it really called you and
Yeah.
this person, and you walk off of a plane. Tell me how that felt like. You know, I mean, you have your bags, you're trying to, you know, change your entire existence here. What was that day like?
Yeah, yeah. Great question. It does bring me back. So flying into Peru to get to the Amazon, I had to fly into Lima, and I think I slept overnight on the floor in the airport, which is kind of the norm. It's what people do. So yeah, and then I took a flight to Cusco, and then from Cusco, I had to take a 8 hour bus ride over the mountains, the Andes Mountains, and into the jungle. And it's this crazy, crazy road, crazy tripping. There's actually, I saw a video on YouTube, and it's like labeled like one of the most kind of treacherous rides.
Oh,
It's
great.
like over these, you know, these like cliff dropping off to the side. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, part of me was almost like in shock, like I can't believe I'm actually here. I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm, you know, gonna be healthy soon. Because again, I was so convinced it was gonna work. So yeah, I was very, very excited, and yeah, in many ways didn't really know what to expect, but was just kind of open to see what was gonna happen.
That's that's
Yeah.
that's amazing. But I do think it's your mindset, and you are, you know, a head doctor. What is your official title? Is it psychotherapist
A
or?
psychotherapist, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a licensed social worker. Yeah.
So you know how important it is to have a mindset on something. And when you do walk into a doctor's office and they go like, "Hey, you have 6 months to live," that is a death sentence because it puts it in your head. And there are people that will go up to that day of 6 months and they go, "Oh,
Yeah.
it's time for me to die. I got to go." But here you were flipping the switch.
Yeah.
You're going in and you're taking your mind and going like, I am going to cure myself. And that's huge. And when your shaman met you, he knew that you were there to be cured. So what was his name and what was your experience with him? Seriously, you're taking me to the jungle and I want to meet this guy. But tell me exactly what your experience was.
Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, so his name is Habeen, and I can share a website at the end of this, that if anyone wants
Oh,
to
share it
connect
right
with
now.
him, if anyone. Okay.
Just tell it right now. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do
Yeah,
it we'll do it several times.
it's sandarihealingcenter.org.
Great. And
So yeah.
yeah,
So that has
hopefully he doesn't get like amazing like, you know, traffic and then I can't even see this guy. We might have to withhold this episode.
I'll hook you up. Don't worry.
This is I'm sorry. We can't move the camera, but this is my director over here. He's fabulous. Oh, and Snappy, come here. This is my assistant. You've talked to him quite a few times on the phone. I'm sitting on my mic. Hope I'm not messing everything up. No, you got to come all the way over. All the way over. You got to
Can't see it. Can't
get
see
off
it.
your butt and come on over here.
Take your headphones off.
Go over and say hi.
Hello.
Here you are. Hi. Is that Zach?
That's Zach. We call him Snappy and Chip and everything else like that. I would be lost without him. He's amazing. This is my director over here. I don't even. Oh, come on over. Yeah, there you go. He's my knight in
Oh
shining
yes, we
armor.
met at the
There you
beginning.
go.
Yes.
Oh, and he's gonna
I'm feeling a
he's gonna
big
fix
road
my
trip to
breast right
Peru
now.
coming up.
So like that, yeah. And then Mark, are you gonna say hi? Mark is my sound guy. He's over here. He can't move
Hi.
because he's got headphones on and everything like that. But he
Got
looks
it.
like Wookiee from Star Wars. So we'll flash up a picture of him. Your shaman, though, have you seen him? Have you seen him since you've been there?
So I left Peru in 2019, and I've been in New Mexico since then. So haven't. Oh, there it is. Yes,
Yeah, good job.
I created this, by the way.
What?
So yeah, I hope
Really?
it's not too glitchy. Yeah, and it's in Spanish as well.
Okay, so you
That's
did
the.
you did the website for him?
I did. Yes.
Aw, that's why.
Yes.
And so up until then, though, nobody knew. Uh, I got to tell you, I went on YouTube probably about 2-3 weeks ago, and started watching any videos about ayahuasca, and there's a lot. There's
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of.
Yes.
And I think you got to kind of be careful about who you go to. It's
Oh
almost like
yes.
it's almost like doctors that really aren't qualified to practice.
Yep.
You have to be very careful. So
Yes.
I actually talked to you yesterday, and I was going like, "Have you ever heard of this guy?" And you're like, "Nah," and I go like, "Okay, we're skipping that." But
Well, I mean, just because I haven't heard of it doesn't mean it's not
I know, I
legit. But
know.
yeah, no, it's true. There's a lot of, and once I got to Peru, I could see this even more. Once you're there, that there's a lot of these centers just kind of popping up, and you do really have to look into what how much experience they have
Yeah.
and what are they doing there. Yeah.
Now, okay, you fly in. We've got you going down this like bumpy road. I'm taking everybody through the whole process with you.
Oh, we're
And
all going.
everybody's got to realize that you flipped the switch on this, an uncurable disease, and you're testing negative. Okay, so you go down this road, you meet this man, he's amazing. What is the first thing that they did to you? I mean, you check into your room, you have your baggage. Do they give you a drink right away? I mean, tell me what happened.
I met him, and he was working with a group of other guys who were kind of helping him. And this was in a small village. And from this small village, we had to go actually deeper into the jungle, further into the jungle, into the land that they were living on and working on at the time. So it was incredible because I was pretty remote. We basically probably took a 45-minute drive deeper into the jungle, and then we had to cross a river, partly
Of
by
course.
foot, and then take a boat. And then we were there. And yeah, so I basically had a very, very simple tent I was living out of that I actually loved. This was like my little like cocoon. And I was right by this river, this beautiful river. There were some indigenous people who would occasionally walk by because there were other communities that were even deeper into the jungle. So I think the whole point of all of this is I really, really had to get out of my comfort zone. And I really had to, as I left my old life behind, it was leaving behind everything. So, like all of my conditioning, all of my beliefs, all of the ways that I was living my life. And living in the jungle, you're kind of in survival mode in a way. And you have to form this connection with nature and with the jungle. And for me, it was just kind of opening up to that. And so again, to answer your question, we started my dietas maybe a day or two once we got to this other land. And my
This
shaman
other
and these.
land, and life
Yes.
changing. I mean, this is all things, because one of the reasons why they're not doing stem cell therapy for for autoimmune is one of the higher ups from all the research people says like we don't know what causes it, so we don't know how to address it because we don't know what causes it. And I got to tell you, I know what causes it. It's trauma, and it's post-traumatic stress disorder. It's being on a flight or fight too long, and your immune system is like up and running, and it gets taxed, and then all of a sudden it doesn't know what to do anymore. I mean, that's my analogy of it, because I was in a very bad place in my life and I didn't address it well. And then, God damn it, if you have to go to the Amazon jungle to change your freaking life, go ahead and do it. Because I really do. And being a psychotherapist, that your mindset, your mind, body, soul connection is so important to your health. It just is.
Yeah.
And I don't think people get that until they do this kind of discovery. And I think your experience with going there, and you did not think you were going to stay there for 2.5 years, did you?
I thought I was going to be moving there for good, to be honest with you.
Really?
But yeah, I was just knew I was done with San Francisco, and I was just so kind of focused on going there and getting there that the end just like I wasn't really looking at the end of it. It was just like, I'm going to Peru now. So I don't know if part of that was just being in the moment, and the moment was all about Peru. But yeah, I was definitely. I didn't think it was just going to be the 2 months. I had a feeling it was longer.
So they're like regular type of program would be a 2-month program to go in and do it.
That's a good question, and
good question.
I think he was initially so many good questions. Yeah, I think initially he was saying about 4 to 6 weeks, and then because I had so many other things going on, I was on a lot of medication. So at this point, my migraine headaches and my vertigo, I was on daily medication for those. And
how many drugs did they put you on at first?
Back in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Or
well, San Francisco is a very, it's a drug town. What did they put you on?
So I started with methotrexate.
That's what they wanted me to do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
yeah. And I went home and I Googled it and I went, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, that tends to be the standard that they start people on. So yeah, I started with that. It made me really nauseous, and trying to think if I got some of the vertigo from that. And it wasn't helping with the inflammation. So I think after that I moved into the biologics, which is just another class of medication where I had to inject myself, which initially when they told me that, I was like, I'm going to faint if I have to give myself a shot. Like, I'm not good at this stuff. And then I just felt so desperate, and I was like, okay, if you think this is going to help, I'm going to inject myself. So yeah, at the time that I went to Peru, I was still taking a biologic, and then I was taking maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 other pills for whatever else I had going on.
Isn't it odd that, it's like this and I take this and, but you have to trust somebody because, the pain and everything else. But what was your first experience for actually doing the ayahuasca?
My first experience, let me think. Yeah, so in the 2 months that I was doing the dietas, I had 4 ayahuasca ceremonies. They were very spread out, about every other week. I had watched some videos about ayahuasca, but not compared to what's out there now. So I had definitely kind of read and heard some scary stuff. So I was a little bit, I don't know, didn't really know what to expect. But yeah, my first ceremony I think was pretty mellow, I felt very loved in it by ayahuasca, which sounds kind of funny, but the plant really does have a feel to it.
Wow.
So yeah, and obviously there's a lot of vomiting involved with ayahuasca, and the vomiting is really seen as a cleansing
It's a purging, right?
of emotional
But you're
stuff
feeling
of
love at the
yeah.
same time. So it's a lot of relationships that I've had where you like to throw up, but you feel loved.
Yeah, well, you kind of feel loved after the vomiting. Yes.
And how long, how long did it last? What was the feeling? I know it's probably really hard to describe, but give it a shot.
You're talking with ayahuasca
Yeah.
specifically? Yeah. Yeah, so ayahuasca is usually the ceremonies take place at night. And because I was in this very remote part of the jungle, we of course had no electricity, uh, no light really. So um, we drank. I was with there was maybe 4 people in the ceremony, and yeah, it's really kind of hard to hard to
Explain,
explain,
right?
hard to
Yeah.
talk about without being there. Yeah, but so basically, the shaman is, and I also just have to say, in Peru they don't say shaman, but I'm saying shaman just because I think that's what
People
people
understand here, yeah.
understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he's obviously in charge of the ceremony, and he is singing songs. And ayahuasca, for people who don't know, is a drink made of 2 plants that has DMT in it, and the DMT causes hallucinations. So sounds and sensations tend to give you these hallucinations, and sometimes they can be really scary, sometimes they're really beautiful and loving and peaceful. And again, in the jungle, in the Amazon, in the middle of the night with this beautiful sky above you, sometimes I had my eyes open, sometimes I had my eyes closed. But yeah, trees and shapes just kind of take on different shapes and forms and personalities. And yeah, it's a trip. So it goes
It's a trip.
till about I don't you kind of lose track of time when you're in the ceremony, but it goes until I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning, and then the shaman will kind of close it out, and we're already outside, kind of sleeping under the stars. So mostly you just kind of fall asleep outside. And what's funny is any other time, if you're sleeping outside in the jungle, you're going to get like attacked by insects. But if
Right.
in ceremony, for whatever reason, I don't know, you're protected in a different way. And all of the times that I slept outside in a ceremony, waking up in the next morning, I was always fine. So yeah.
So, like, no mosquitoes, no bugs, no anything like that?
Without ayahuasca, yes,
That
but
is
in ayahuasca
incredible.
ceremony, yeah.
That is
Yeah.
really incredible. So, like,
Uh-huh.
it kind of like the whole atmosphere knows, you're doing. Okay, and you did it with
Yeah.
4 other people. Do you still keep in contact with them? Did they go through the whole process with you, or were they like in and out and in and out?
Yeah, so in those 2 months that I was there, there were maybe 3 other people that were kind of passing through. Um, yes, 2 of them I do still keep in touch with. One of the guys, he was Peruvian. I think I did lose touch with him. But
Okay.
the group that was, taking care of me and supporting me through all this, yeah, I'm totally still in touch with them. They're like family, but beyond family. It's like I can't even explain to you the gratitude and the love I have for these guys.
It's
Yeah,
amazing. It's
yeah,
amazing. It's amazing.
it
Oh,
is. Thank
but
you.
what did your family think about you hiking off to the jungle? I mean, what was their reaction? I mean, 2.5 years. I mean, I know my family, they would go like, "Phew, man, it's going to the jungle." So they wouldn't have a problem with it. But what did
Yeah.
your family say?
So initially, yeah, telling my parents I had to kind of lay down the groundwork, explain what a shaman is. They were like, "Oh no, not again." Here she goes again.
Oh my God, really?
Yes, because previously in my life, yes, it's not the first time I've just kind of taken off. So I
Okay.
lived in India for a year, spent some time in Guatemala. I do tend to move around a lot and make kind of big life changing decisions. So yes, when I first told them, they were quite concerned. And when I framed it in terms of this is really important for me, I'm really doing this for my health, they were able to definitely support me. And then I have two brothers and their families, and they were very interested and intrigued and supportive as well.
Did they
And
come
then
down
every
and visit
time,
you? Did they come down and like, I mean, 2.5 years is a long time. Yeah, yeah, I mean, everybody has a cell phone, so I'm sure they knew what was going on. Did they come down and go like, we got to check this out?
there was actually talk of that at one point. But so every time my visa ran out in those 6 months,
Oh yeah, right.
I would go back to the East Coast and see my family. And basically I had nowhere else to go back to because I had left everything in San Francisco.
Right.
So yeah, I'd shipped a bunch of my stuff to my it's still in like my parents' basement. So yeah, I would see them every 6 months basically, and yeah, and I think they could see that
You were
I
getting better
was
all the time. Every
doing
six
well,
months you would
and
come back and you would go like, oh my God, we got to support
yeah,
this. So,
yeah,
how
yeah.
many times did you actually? I know you said you were drinking stuff the whole time. This ayahuasca is like the master plan, but there are a lot of other healing plants there. How many times did you do the ayahuasca?
In the 2.5 years,
Uh
or
huh.
in the initial retreat.
No, in the 2.5 years.
Oh, in the 2.5 years, over 20, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
the initial ones that I mean, put you on the right path. How many times was that?
in my initial dietas, which is those initial 2 months, it was 4 times.
4 times.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And and you said like the visions that you would see. Sometimes they were good. Sometimes they were scary. Sometimes this. What? Which time? If this is a good question, I don't know. I'll find out. Which time do you think was the pinnacle that put you over the edge?
That is a good question, and I don't think there was like, and I maybe there was just like there's one
Yeah.
moment, one ceremony where everything shifted. I'm not really sure, because what else I was doing in these 2 months during my diet is really just kind of surrendering to
Mm.
everything, to being in the jungle, to eating this kind of bland diet. Again, I was drinking other plants as well. So there were four other plants that I was dieting, as they call it, and these were not hallucinogenic teas, but so morning and night I would be drinking these other teas of the plants, and spending a lot of time alone, spending a lot of time literally just like watching the trees, watching nature, sitting in the river that was right by my place. And I remember in that time, weird memories would come up, um, from
Hmm.
childhood, from school, and sometimes I was like, oh my gosh, like why am I thinking of this thing that happened when I was like 8 years old? Like I'm in the jungle. I should be, enjoying my time in the jungle. And then as these like recurring memories kept coming up, I was kind of able to see like, okay, this is needing to come up for a reason, and I think I need to just kind of sit with it and release it. And I think that was, really just part of the healing and part of my process.
I haven't
uh,
done the ayahuasca yet, and I say yet because I do plan on doing it. Actually, my director is going to do it with me.
right
He's
on.
he's he's coming with me. He's going to do the whole thing with me. And
Awesome.
I don't know how I first heard about it, but they say the plant will call you. And I do believe that because I've surrendered myself to the universe and going like, I have this thing. I'm just going to, offer that up. And this, I believe, is part of that. And I think that's what you were experiencing. And I do think, we harbor a everything that happens to us is like cellular. We have a
Mm-hmm.
memory bank inside of our body that just records everything like a master plan. And when things are hurtful, they store themselves in there. And if that shows up as a disease later on in life, that's why a lot of people don't get sick until they're, older, is because it builds up, it builds up, it builds up, and we have to release that. And surrendering is part of that. And I
Mm-hmm.
know I'm a very spiritual person, but I'm also a very in the moment kind of person. And it took this horrible thing to happen to me to make a reflection on my life and go like, okay, what am I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's a blessing or a curse, that's what we're doing right now. And we're going to help
Mm-hmm.
300 million people that are going through the same thing and hopefully curing this autoimmune thing. Because, I mean, seriously, MS, lupus, RA, and the other 100 diseases that are out there, they're curable. They are. And for any doctor to say, like, there's no cure, bullshit. Um, and I think you are one of the keys of that. And the ayahuasca helps you to get in that, but is it necessary? Yeah, uh, I'm doing it. Um, but oh, I just lost my earpiece. Oh, let's do
It's right
this
here.
too. I got this one too. There we go. That's much better. No.
Right here.
What is it? Okay. Um, but I think your bravery, I mean, Nick, get over here. I can't put an earpiece in. I don't know what's wrong with me. Um, I think your bravery of casting everything aside, and thank you. Go ahead, do a cameo. Do a cameo. He's wonderful.
I could
I
tell.
think I think your bravery was probably 50% of you getting better. You're going like, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to fall in line with a bunch of sheep that are out there that say, okay, we got to take the methotrexate, and my face is going to fall off, my hair is going to fall out. I mean, seriously, that's the side effects. It's a low dose of chemo. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we know right now is that, like, we go in, we kill all your cells, and then we'll start over again. I don't think that's necessary. I think we have to address what we have going on right now and then reboot, almost like a computer. You know, it's just like, I love the way my IT guy, sometimes he goes like, did you unplug it and plug it back in? Do we really need to do all that other stuff? I don't know. I don't think so. So, being a
Yeah, so I just
psychotherapist,
want-
how are you helping other people now? Because I know you came back and you kind of like recharged your entire practice, and now you're
did.
actually taking other people through a journey to self heal, and I want to know how that, you know, and how we can get people to come to you.
Yeah, thank you. So, you know, first of all, I just want to say I have incredible compassion and empathy for anyone who is taking medications right now. And, you know, we have choices in all of this. And if that is someone's choice, that was my choice for about 5 years. And you know, there's no shame in that. So I do just want to put that out there. And I think that if you can combine Western medicine with something that is maybe alternative or kind of off the beaten path, that that may be the best way. So yeah, in terms of my own practice and the work that I do now, I do a lot of integration work around psychedelics. So as I spent more time in Peru, I noticed that a lot of people who had um, been through ayahuasca ceremonies were having trouble integrating it. And were having either mood swings or had ceremonies that were confusing for them, or um, you know, even just talking about it with a professional, so that, you know, there again, there's no shame in taking ayahuasca either. There's no shame around psychedelics, which are definitely having a moment right now.
They
With
are. They are. They are.
yes,
What is
yeah,
it? What there's a an organization called MAPS.
maps, yes.
I because I'm fairly new to it. I don't know what that acronym really means, but you know, hey, the map is not the territory, right?
Yeah.
But they are a group of professionals and doctors that go like, if you use ayahuasca, LSD, or you know, any psychedelic thing, and it's used in a proper fashion, it's a healing, and it's been that way for centuries. And for some reason, we threw it under a rug, I guess, because you know we tend to misuse things. But they are having a comeback. I mean, even in the state of California, we have a governor that is proposing a bill to the government to actually make these legal for them to, you know, use as healing drugs.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. So yes, for the most part, they are not legal right now, but there are a lot of people who are getting grants and federal approval to do research, and the research is just looking incredibly promising in terms of helping with depression, trauma, PTSD. So,
What,
so yeah, that's all very exciting.
you know, a lot of people say that, you know, and prescription drugs are the same thing. It's not any different. But they say, you know, oh well, you're doing you know, this, and that's like, you know, you just want to take a shortcut. You know, you got to deal with your issues. Do you think that it's possible to cure an autoimmune by mindset alone? I mean, you are, you know, a psychotherapist, and basically mind, body, soul, right? That is it possible? even without, Western or Eastern medication, are you able to just like sit down and go like, I'm going to kick this on my own?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, why not? Based on my own experience and what happened to me, I kind of live by anything is possible. And I do think we really have to kind of change the narrative around autoimmune diseases and talking about it in a more kind of hopeful, optimistic way. In that, yes, healing is possible. And again, for everyone to find their own way with that. So, yeah, I would love to meet someone who just kind of mentally put it out there. I'm healing this, and yeah, go for it.
Yeah, it's subconscious, the hypnotherapy. I mean, there's so many things. There's energy healing. There's this. I mean, for us
Yes.
to just not incorporate in the United States because of our collective mindset that this is the way things are done, and this is bad and this is good. I think they have to start using everything. I mean, there's so many different aspects about how you live your life and how you're going to be able to pursue things the way that you want to, that we have to stop it with the, oh, this is bad and this is the way to do things. And I don't want to pick on any doctor, and I don't want to pick on any hospital or their regimen, but a lot of times it's like, you have this is what we prescribe, and go home and take this drugs, and that's it. And that's, in my opinion, wrong. You have to take a full look at everything that's going on, and you have to give hope. And I think
Yeah.
that's what you're doing. And I want to have you come to the studio, and I know we're running long here. I'm sure, Snappy and Skippy and, Mark and everybody is going like, how long are you going to talk, Anna Strong? But I think we really have to open our minds. Ah! Isn't that a great expression? Open your mind to healing.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
want you to come, and I want you to introduce me to your man and your little neighborhood down in South America. And we're going to make that an episode in our documentary series, because we're going down there and we're going to get stuff done. Okay?
Awesome.
Okay, I want you to tell everybody your website and his website also. I want them to get in touch with you, because I think you're going to help an enormous amount of people.
Yeah, so my website is lynnenardizzi.com. That's my first and last name.com. And Habin is the shaman that I worked with. He is in Peru, and his website is sandarihealingcenter.org. You can always just email me through my website, and I can connect anyone with him as well. And yeah, also, I just want to emphasize something that you said, Anna, which is healing is mind, body, and soul. And yeah, I think that soul idea of really, when we get a diagnosis or facing anything in our life that feels overwhelming, that when we really kind of get deep into that of like, who am I and what am I doing here? And really kind of letting that be your guide, and letting in that guidance, finding your way and finding your healing, that yeah, through adversity, in overcoming that, there is tremendous hope and positivity. So
Oh my God, I'm going to
yeah.
cry. Tremendous hope. That's what people need. That's what they need, okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna remove my purple glasses, which I love, because everybody else goes, we have to see your eyes. But That's what people need. They don't need to go into a doctor's office and hear, oh, I got to tell you, not more than 6 months ago, and I mean, I've been on this journey for 4 years. I've adjusted my diet. I've adjusted the way that I do things. I mean, I'm beyond not perfect, but just realizing that, and I was in a doctor's office, and he's looking at me, and he's going like, well, yeah, you know, there's no cure for this. And he's looking at me like I'm going to die at any minute. You can't do that to people. You can't like have them come into your office, and I'm speaking to every doctor out there. There is always hope. You don't tell somebody that there is no hope, because that's the killer. It's not the disease. Okay, it's the mindset. And even you know, if you had something like, you know, a monkey over here on your back, and you go like, I can't get this monkey off of my back. You have to have somebody to go like, I can help you, and it's going to be okay. And that's the answer, is that you have control of your life. No matter what issue you're facing, that your mindset and your attitude is key. So don't give up hope, and life is always worth living. So.
Yeah. Well, now you're gonna make me cry. But yeah, words are so powerful, and what happened to me can happen to anyone. So yeah, again, anything is possible, and healing is possible for anyone.
And there you
So,
go. And our time is
yeah.
up. Hope, love, laugh. Stay strong and golden. Thank you very much, Lynne. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Anna.
And I know you're going to help so many people.